When we first learn to program, we rely on a comforting assumption. Code executes exactly as written, in a sequential line, from top to bottom. Take the simplest high-level operation imaginable, incrementing a counter by 1. But a modern CPU cannot process that equation in a single motion. It fractures the single line of code into 3 distinct machine-level steps. First, the processor reads the current value from memory. Second, it increments the value inside its own internal register. Third, it writes the new value back out to memory. The illusion of single-line commands works in isolation, but in systems where multiple processes execute simultaneously, this fracturing exposes structural vulnerabilities. The root of the problem is concurrency, when 2 or more threads attempt to modify the same shared data at the exact same time. This diagram tracks the execution timelines of 2 competing entities, thread A and thread B, as they hit that fractured increment command. Chronologically, thread A reads the current variable value first. That value is 0. But before thread A can execute its increment step, the OS scheduler pauses it and switches to thread B. Thread B also reads the memory value. Since thread A hasn't written anything back yet, thread B also reads a 0. Both threads now independently increment their internal values to 1, and both write a 1 back to memory. 2 additions occurred. The expected result is 2, but the actual memory state is 1. This specific failure state, where interleaving hardware instructions corrupt shared data, is a race condition. Unmanaged concurrency ultimately results in data corruption. To operate safely, shared data must be isolated inside a restricted zone called a critical section, where only one thread can execute at a time. The theoretical gatekeeper required to protect this critical section is the Mutex, or mutual exclusion, lock. To function, the lock must enforce 3 requirements: mutual exclusion to ensure only one thread enters, progress to eliminate unnecessary waiting, and bounded waiting to prevent any thread from starving. This diagram details a basic lock, a state machine where 0 means unlocked, 1 means locked. A thread checks for 0, enters, and changes the state to 1. But with timeline interleaving, thread A and B check simultaneously. Both read 0 and both enter. A software lock is itself shared data. Using breakable software logic to protect software logic creates an infinite regression of race conditions. To solve the paradox, the operating system has to bypass software entirely and rely on the physical silicon of the CPU. It does this using specialized hardware mechanisms known as atomic operations. An atomic operation executes in a single, indivisible clock cycle. The OS scheduler cannot interrupt it mid-execution. This C code snippet illustrates the first atomic instruction, test and set, or TSL. Instead of reading, waiting, and writing, TSL reads the lock's value and unconditionally sets it to true in one motion. A false return means the thread acquired it. True means it must loop back. By physically fusing the check and set actions into a single instruction, the hardware ensures that the entire operation completes before the scheduler can switch to another task. Test and set works, but its behavior of unconditionally forcing a state to true is rigid and lacks the efficiency required for complex data structures. Because of this, modern operating systems rely on an upgraded atomic instruction, compare and swap, or CAS. This diagram shows the mechanic of CAS. Instead of forcing a state change, it compares a current memory value against a specific expected value. The hardware only updates the memory to a new value if the current state matches the thread's expectation. This conditional logic provides the flexibility required for advanced lock-free programming, but it also introduces a specific vulnerability known as the ABA problem. In this case, a value changes from state A to state B and then reverts to state A just before a thread checks it. The CAS instruction confirms the match and proceeds, unaware that the data was modified. CAS is the atomic bedrock of modern architecture, but its conditional nature forces engineers to design safeguards against these invisible state changes. When a thread's atomic check fails because the lock is held, the OS faces a new problem. What should it do with the waiting thread? This diagram presents 2 distinct solutions. The first is the spin lock, or busy waiting. In a spin lock, the thread continuously loops the CAS instruction, querying the CPU until the lock opens. This guarantees 0 latency the moment the lock frees, but it consumes CPU cycles during the wait. The second option is the blocking mutex. Here, the OS pauses the waiting thread and puts it to sleep, returning control to the CPU so it can execute other tasks. This preserves CPU efficiency, but introduces the specific latency penalty of context switching, where the system must store and reload the thread's execution state. Systems engineering requires a compromise between consuming hardware resources with a spin lock or sacrificing execution speed with a blocking mutex. How do modern POSIX-compliant operating systems resolve this dilemma? When developers need a lock, they use a standard API call, pthread Mutex Lock. Calling this function triggers a hybrid solution known as adaptive locking. It starts on the fast path, where the OS immediately attempts an atomic CAS operation to secure the lock. If that fails, it drops to the middle path. The thread acts as a spin lock for a brief duration, betting the lock will open within microseconds. If the spin duration expires, the OS takes the slow path, degrading to a blocking mutex and putting the thread to sleep. The Mutex Lock command in an IDE rests on this specific hierarchy of hardware atomicity and adaptive OS scheduling. This table isolates the mutex against its closest relative, the semaphore. Mutexes are binary and require absolute thread ownership to protect a singular critical section. Semaphores use integer counters to orchestrate access to pools of identical resources, regardless of which thread holds the lock. While mutexes solve waste conditions at the instruction level, strict ownership creates macro-level risks for the operating system. The first is deadlock, the state where multiple threads wait infinitely on locks currently held by each other. The second is starvation, where scheduling algorithms consistently bypass a thread, preventing it from ever acquiring the lock. Finally, priority inversion occurs when a low-priority thread holds a lock required by a high-priority thread, halting the system. Mutex locks provide the synchronization primitives required for shared memory concurrency, but if poorly engineered, this safety mechanism becomes the cause of systemic paralysis.